shell scripting, and using environment variables. Okay, so now these are the two things that we are going to start with today. Okay, let me share my screen and okay, there are a few resources that I found, which I'll send it across. Okay, everybody can actually go through these resources during the rest of the day. Okay. Okay, so what did we do yesterday? So we looked at certain commands, okay, certain advanced commands, networking commands. Okay, let me just open the assignment from yesterday. Okay, so we looked at greater than symbol, less than symbol, the pipe symbol, right? We also looked at VI as an editor, and networking commands such as ping, telnet, file commands such as less, more, tail, tar, right? And also the file permissions, right? How do you manage file permissions? And also the grep, right? I mean, if you have to search something in a set of files or in an input stream, how do you search that, right? So that using grep. So we looked at all of that. So what we will do today is I'll take you through environment variables. Okay, in Linux or any operating system that you take, there's something called environment variables, which allows the system or the users to set variables that can be globally applied, which can be um, used in terms of when you want to automate something or when you want to look up some value, right? So these environments variable can be used. So I'm sure all of you are using Windows laptop or desktop. So what you can do is you can actually log into you can search for environment variables in the control panel, and then you can see what all variables have been set in the environment variables. There will be two types of environment variables, system level or user level. Okay, so now user level will apply only to that user, right? I mean, when I log in and if I want to basically refer to something, you can basically go and look at the user level variables, or you can refer to the system level environment variables. Okay, so now similarly in Linux also, we have these environment variables, which allows or helps users to define certain variables. Like one simple example is path. Okay, so usually you install programs or software on the system, correct? So that will be installed on a physical path in either /bin, or it will be in one of the folders, right, wherever the software is installed. So now that binary, whatever is executable, when you have to basically invoke that, right, you will need to you'll need to refer to that path to invoke that, correct? So now what will happen is if you set the variable environment variable path environment variable, and if you append it, that program will be accessible from anywhere, right? You don't need to explicitly every time you don't have to give the absolute path, right? We looked at the absolute path and relative path, correct? You don't need to give the full path of the program, or you don't need to give the full path for that particular application to run. Okay, so that's one common example of what happens, right? So quick definition of environment variables is environment variables are global settings that control the function of the shell and other Linux programs. They are sometimes referred to global shell variables. Okay. Okay. I'll give you some more examples. But before that, okay, I told about shell, correct? Shell is what is shell? This is shell, right? So when you log into a Linux using SSH or PuTTY, okay, basically PuTTY is again a tool in Windows, which you can use to connect to Linux terminals, right? As I said over the last couple of classes, there are Linux has got both a desktop and also it has got a terminal, right? So when you open the terminals, that is called the shell, right? So you should know these terminologies, right? So that we will start using these proper terminologies going forward, right? And when we actually start doing hands-on with AWS also, I will keep referring to some of these terminologies day in, day out. Okay. So you'll have to kind of understand and relate to what a shell is. Okay. What a shell is. Shell is nothing but a Linux terminal, where I can log in and then I can basically pass commands and interact with the operating system. So that is called a shell. Okay. And SSH, right? SSH means secure shell. SSH is a protocol. Okay. All of you would have read about protocols in your colleges, right? So SSH is a protocol which allows you to securely connect to a shell. Okay. So now, so that's what it says, right? So when the function of that controls the functions of the shell and other Linux programs, right? So that's what basically now environment variables helps you to achieve. I'll show you quickly how you set environment variables and how you can play with that. So now it is just using the environment variables here. You can echo an environment variable. For example, echo $var, right? So usually dollar is appended to the environment variable so that you can echo it and you can see. For example, in this case, let me say echo $path. I'm not sure if var is set or not, but path is set. So this is the path. See, it immediately returns me what is the value that the $path contains. Okay, and it has so many directories like user, local, bin, it's all delimited with a colon out here, right? Slash user bin, slash user local s bin, user s bin, slash home EC2 user, and so on and so forth, right? You can, so tomorrow you install a program and say slash home EC2 user slash your name, Krishna, right? I mean, you can just say slash home slash EC2 user slash Krishna slash bin, right? So that can be a path. So from anywhere and from any folder you basically execute it, it will be executable. Okay, you don't, because it first searches whenever you execute something, right? Like say, for example, I want to execute du. Okay, so this is a du is a command, right? So now, first, what the operating system does is it searches for this du command in all of these folders. Okay, wherever it finds this du, it executes it from there. First time, wherever it finds, it executes it from there. So that's why it's important you also put it in that order, right? Maybe du may you may copy a program in two different paths, but one could be a old version, one could be a new version, correct? So now, if you want the new version to take precedence over old version, you have to ensure that that path comes in the first before the old version's path. Okay, so let's see whether echo var is there or not. Okay, echo var is not there. Okay, there's no variable called echo var. Okay. Okay, and let's also try this. Okay, cd $home, right? Let's say echo $home. What is my $home? Yeah, see, actually $home is also it's an environment variable which points it to slash home slash EC2 user, which is my home directory, correct? So now what I'm doing is I can go to home directory either by cd tilde or cd slash home slash EC2 user, correct? But you can also do that using $home, cd $home. So what it does is, in the place of wherever you reference these environment variables, it is nothing but a string at the end of the day, right? So all of you are aware of what a string is, correct? Is there anyone who is not aware of what the data types such as string, integer, Boolean, what it means? I can spend 1 minute, 1 or 2 minutes in explaining that. I'm sure all computer science students would know what a variable is, what a data type is. Okay, then I will assume that all of you are aware of this. Okay, and let's move on. So now what happens is when you refer to $home, so the $home will just equate to a string in the backend. Okay, and then when I say cd $home, what it does is it first evaluates what $home means, because it has a dollar symbol in front of it. It takes the value of $home, and then it basically replaces $home with the actual value for $home, which is /home/ec2 user. Okay, that's how it works. So now you can refer this in anywhere, right? You can refer this in a shell script. You can refer this in commands that you pass. Okay, and you can refer this to in any other probably command line interfaces that you use. Like in AWS, when we install the command line interface, you will see that this dollar symbol variable, it will be used quite frequently. So that's why you need to understand this, and you need to know, how do you set this correctly, and how do you set this properly. Okay, when you say $home, see, it is actually taking me to, okay, let me first go to the root. Let me go to the root. What is the current working directory? Present working directory is root, right? So let me type cd $home. See, it took me to tilde, which is my home. Okay, so now that is what happens, when you use environment variables, right? Now let us also try something else. Okay, let us say what is $system name. Okay, echo $system name. Okay, so there is nothing called system name, but there will be something called host name. Yeah, see, there's something called host name. Host name is nothing but the name of this server. Okay, the name of the server is some IP 10.0.172.ec2.internal. That is the local name of this particular server. Like every computer has got a name, right? So that way, this is basically a name of that. Okay, so now what we can do is we can say echo. Sorry, is there a question? Okay, so what you can do is you can say echo, you are running on host name. See how you use this environment variables. You are running on, it just took the value of IP 10.172 EC2 internal to this. It just appends it to this. Okay, it'll be quite useful. So just learn how do you make use of this. By the way, where does all this get stored? Okay, so it gets stored in.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Actually, in the home, we will be getting all the details where the file has been stored. Where we are in the right now, current directory. Home will be showing that, sir.
Yeah. So no. I repeat your question, please. I didn't get it.
So actually, what will be the home? Home will be showing the present working directory, and where the file has been stored. That is the thing. The home will be showing.
No. Home is your home directory, right? So there are several users in Linux, right? So there will be multiple users,
Yes,
user A, user B, user C, right? So for each user, there will be a home directory. It is like their desktop or their. It's like when you in Windows. Let me equate it to what you do in Windows, right? In Windows,
yes, sir.
You have your laptop or desktop, right? What version of Windows you're running?
Windows 10, sir.
You're running Windows 10. Okay, is it a shared computer, or it's a you only you use it, or there are other people who also use it?
Only I will be using it.
Okay, so only you're using it. Okay, so now assume you're actually sharing this with one of your friends. Okay, so now you're user A, okay, and your friend is user B, right? So now what you will do, you will go to control panel, users and computers, users and groups, and then you will add your friend also, create a password for him, correct? And then when your friend logs in, he will see a different desktop, right? and he will see his own documents, he will see his own pictures, he will see his own desktop, correct? So that
Yes, sir.
becomes his home directory. Okay, so if you
So
go
for
to
multiple users,
C
we'll be
colon
using home
slash users,
directory.
yes, home directory is the home that each user has got. It is not common. Okay, it is specific to each user. So that is what home directory means.
Okay,
Okay, so
sir.
whenever you are in tilde, right, which means that belongs to that particular user's home directory.
Okay, sir.
Okay, remember that. That's more than enough. And whatever you store in your home directory will be visible only to you, right? I mean, of course, it will not. I mean, if I log into the same computer and then I go to my home directory, I will see a different set of files. I can store all my files in my home directory. Okay.
Sir. Okay, sir.
Okay. All right.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, if I use a command echo like host name, like I'm not
Mm-hmm.
getting the kind of IP address which you got, like ends with internal.
No. You won't get it because this is very unique to each computer. What are you getting? You're getting some value, right?
Like normally the version of my laptop I'm getting, sir.
That's okay. That's fine. That is the name of your laptop, basically.
So and one more thing, if I use the
Yeah.
command du sir in my terminal,
Mhm.
like it is running background, so from that time, like 6 to 7 minutes onwards is running many files on background.
No. Why did you run du?
Like after echo path for for getting all the files in SSH.
That's okay. That's fine. That's okay. I just showed you an example. Maybe the process is stuck. You can just kill
No,
it.
sir,
Just
it is running
press
from that
Control
time, sir.
C. Press Control C and stop it.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Or you close the. How did you connect to that? Using a putty or what?
No, sir, I have like Linux in it.
Okay, you have Linux. It's a okay.
Linux has
Okay, you have Linux, right? So just
16 version.
okay on a virtual box.
Question, sir.
No, sir, my OS is a completely Linux Ubuntu 16 version.
Okay, you are already using Linux. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Just close it or kill that process. See what you can
Okay,
do
sir.
is you can use the command that I gave you yesterday. ps-ef grep du. It will show you the du is running, and then you take this process ID and say kill -9 and put that process ID there. It will kill.
Okay, sir. Hyphen 9 needs
Okay,
to stop the current process.
it will kill the process actually. Yeah,
Okay,
correct.
sir. Thank you,
Okay.
sir. Thank you.
Hello, session,
Okay.
sir.
Yeah.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
I am
Please
tap
go ahead.
echo. I tap the echo dollar wire. Press the enter. Nothing showing after enter.
No, what did you do? Echo dollar.
Echo dollar wire. VAR.
Where is not set then? That variable is not set. Try echo dollar path. See, only when the variable is set, it will give you some results. Okay. If that variable is not set, it is not going to give you any results. Okay. So that's why if you see, even I didn't get any results no, for dollar where it is empty. But you can try the other things like echo dollar home, echo dollar path. You can try other things. Don't worry. I mean, only if the variable is set, you will get it.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So any other doubts anyone else has got, or we can move on to the next topics. Okay, fine. Let's move on. So now I will show you, where the environment variables are actually set. Okay, in Linux, where what is the file, where environment variable is set. One second. Sorry, just give me a second. I'll just.
So for killing, we need to use PID or PPID.
Guys, give a couple minutes. Sir will be back.
Sorry.
Okay. Sorry, I'm back. Was there a question? Was there a
Yeah,
question?
yeah. Sir, for killing a process, we need to use PPID or
Use
PID.
use PID
Okay,
process
sir.
ID. Okay. All right. So so now I'll just show you how you can get the path to the environment variables. Okay. So now okay, now before that there's a command called print env. Okay. What print env does is it prints all the environment variables that are there in my that are configured in my computer. Okay. It'll have, for example, I just did host name, right? See, host name is coming from this. And shell is basically pointing to /bin/bash. Okay. And what is the user? The current user, I'm EC2 user. It actually shows. Okay. And path, I just printed path, correct? It prints the path here. It takes the path from here, right? And my home directory is /home/EC2 user. It is coming from there, right? So now, so this is where, the actual, environment variable, you can see all the environment variables here. Print env, print env. Okay, that is the command that you will have to use to print all the environment variables. Okay, and also what you can do is, let me clear the screen. You can also say set. Okay, so when you say set, it'll throw. Okay, it's throwing a huge script. Okay, so when you say set, usually you will get something like this. Okay, so you will say you'll get a lot of variables, and what all are running in this, right? What all are get what are the list of all the variables, including environment, shell, and variables, and all the shell functions. You can use the set command. Okay, set command will kind of return you everything. So in this case, my set command had so much. Okay, it had some scripts which were running. Okay, so yeah, so that's okay. So what you can do is you can just say set, and if it is long, you route your set commands output to a text file and open the text file, and you can see that. Okay. Okay, now let's get into how to set environment variables. Okay, so now let me set an environment variable called my var equal to I'll say test. Okay, so now if you see my var is set. Now what you can do is you can echo $my var. See, it's actually throwing it, correct? So you can set anything using a key and a value, right? This is basically the key, and this is the value of that. Okay, so now you can use this to set your environment variables, and then you can print that environment variables, and you can also use it in your shell scripts. You can use it in your commands. You can use it in your programs that you're writing, right? And you can use it within your Python programs. Okay. By the way, how many of you are introduced to Python? How many of you know Python?
I know, sir.
Okay.
Python 3.
Okay, you can just raise your hands. That's okay. Okay. About 20-25% of the class knows Python. Okay. Okay. All right. So in Python, have you guys
Sir,
tried
excuse
using
me.
an environment variable?
Sir, hello.
Yeah.
Can you just repeat the question what you asked just now? I lost the
No,
track
no.
actually.
What I was asking is how many of you know Python or have learned Python or have been introduced to Python programming?
Yeah. I know Python basics of it.
Okay. That's okay. That's okay. That's not a problem. You can just raise your hands. I mean, if I ask a Boolean question, right, you can simply raise your hands. That's okay. That's fine. All right. So you can also print this using print and myvar, right? Uh, um, okay. So basically, what does it mean in this case when I say print and env myvar? It is not returning anything. Why is it not returning anything? Because it is not an environment variable. It's a local variable, right? In this case, what I've done is I've used myvar test, and it's locally available only within this shell session. Okay, it is not available outside this shell session. Okay, because if it is an environment variable, then it will be available across any shells, across any sessions and across any users. Okay, but in this case it is not, and because it's not going into the environment variable, I'll tell you, I'll add on one more tab. Okay, and then I'll connect to the same SSH once again, and then I'll try to echo this myvar. See, it's empty. It is not available in my second session. It's available only in my first session. If you see, it's able to return a value called test. Okay, but what if you want to make this available across sessions and across globally available? Okay, so what you can do is you can simply say export myvar. Okay, so when you say export myvar, it will be available for the other sessions, for the other users also to make use of it. Okay, let me show you. Now let me execute the same thing. Okay, I have to reload it. Okay, I have to reload the shell because it usually loads that when the shell is loaded. Okay, it's not coming up. Okay, maybe I have to do a source. Okay. 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 We'll revisit this. For some reason, it's not coming up. Maybe it is not setting it up properly. Okay. Okay. So then, what you can also do is mainly if you see when you want to create a variable which is persistent, okay, which does not go away, right? In this case, if I close this tab, I'll close the entire window. I'll close all the tabs. I'll reopen my SSH. I'll again connect to the same server using SSH command. Just take it down. Okay, and then I'll say echo $myvar. See, it is empty because it only stays for the duration of that session. Okay, so now how do you make this available for globally, right? So what you can do is if you go to /etc, okay, etc, and do an ls-l, okay, ls-l environment. Okay, you will see a file called environment. Okay, so now you can basically open this file environment. Okay, right now the environment is empty. because there's nothing in this. So you can go, you can actually set environment variables here. Okay, you can say foo equal to bar. I'm just giving some test. Okay, my var equal to test, something like this. I'm just giving a random this thing. I will save this, come out. Okay, I have to log in as sudo. Okay, again, in Linux, okay, quite another important thing, right? So right now, see, Linux has got a root user. Okay, root user is like your administrator in Windows, right? So in Windows, you have an administrator user, correct? So now, whenever you want to install any programs or whenever you need elevated privileges, you can make use of your administrator rights to install additional programs or make changes to the system and things like that, correct? Install updates and things like that, correct? So similarly in Linux, you have something called root user. I'm sure most of you are aware of it. So now, if you have to perform some system-wide functions, right? You have to elevate yourself as a root user. Okay. So now in this case, I'm a EC2 user. Okay. But what I can do is I can elevate myself by saying sudo su. Su means super user. Okay. You can read more about it later on, but super user is the is a user, you know, which is there in Linux. And when you say sudo, you're basically assuming access as super user. You're assuming access as super user. You're elevating yourself to the privilege of a super user or an administrator. So the moment you make yourself sudo user, you'll become root. Okay, instead of the EC2 user will go away and you will become a root user. Okay. So now let's try editing the environment. Okay. So we set the environment variable here, right? And there's one more file called ls-l profile. Okay, you will also find a file called profile. Let's see what is there in the profile. Okay, so this is the profile. So this is again a system-wide environment and startup programs for login functions. I mean, you will get a warning saying that it's not a good idea to change this file unless you know what you're doing. It's much better to create a custom shell script in /etc profile D to make custom changes to your environment, as this will prevent the need for merging in future updates. Okay, so that's fine. So you just have to understand this will have a system-wide impact. Okay, you will be able to control anything in the system using this /etc/profile, right? When you add something or when you change something here, right? It'll have a very system-wide impact. Okay, and this would vary from Linux to Linux. When I say vary from Linux to Linux, so in this case, this is a Amazon Linux. Okay, what I've currently logged in is an Amazon Linux. Okay, it's not a RHEL, it's not a CentOS, it's Amazon's own Linux distribution. I told you on Monday, correct? So when since Linux is an open source, it is available free of cost to everybody. Anybody can take it, make modifications to it, and roll out their own distribution. So in this case, what Amazon has done is they have gone ahead and took the source code of it, and then they rolled out their own version of Linux called Amazon Linux. Okay. All right. And also, if you want to say add some things to the path, okay, like I just did an echo dollar path, correct? So my echo dollar path is giving me all of these, right? So now let me go to my home directory. This is my home directory. Or let me exit out of this. I'll just go back to EC2 user. I just now came out of root and I went back to my EC2 user. You just do an exit and then it will take you out of your privilege, out of your elevated privileges, and it'll take you back to your main user, which is in this case EC2
Excuse me,
user.
sir. Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I went into environment variables. How to get out of it? Like get back into the main screen?
How did you
What
go
is
into the environment variable?
VI
Okay, let's do one
environment?
thing. Okay, let's do one thing. A request here. So stop doing any hands-on work that you're doing currently. Okay. Let's first get into the basics of it. You can do all the hands-on work during your lab session.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so that we don't break the flow. And secondly, we have to finish it on time and then get back to the lab sessions. Okay, so now
Okay, sir.
I'm just showing you, right? You can make a note of it. Okay, you can just take a quick note of it in your document or in your WordPad, text pad, or in your piece of paper. But don't do any of these, because this may kind of break the flow and disturb others as well. So please keep that in mind, and let's kind of reserve all the questions. I'll give you 15 minutes towards the end of it. Maybe at around 10:30 or 10:45, when we take a logical pause, I will pause there, and then you can pose all your questions. Whatever did not work for you, we will solve all of that. Okay, all right. So I was actually showing about, I was talking about the path, correct? So now if you see echo $path, right? This is the path which is set for me, correct? So now, what I can do is I can simply add more to this path, right? So for example, I created some folders yesterday, correct? I created folder 1 and folder 2, correct? So let's assume I want to have, I have some program running in folder 1, which I want to basically, so I want to have my folder 1, the path to this folder 1, to be appended as part of this path, so that if I install anything to my folder 1, any programs to my folder 1, I can run it from anywhere. I can refer it from anywhere without putting the entire path before I execute the program. Okay. So now what should I do for that? What I have to do is I have to take this and append it to this, right? So when I have to append it, what will I do? I mean, in Windows, it's very simple, right? I mean, if I were to append something to this, I will just open the file, and then I'll say append it. I'll just put one more colon and then append it, right? Yeah. So finally, what I want is I want to do something like this. So till here was my original path. So now I want to basically append /home EC2 user /folder 1 also to my path, so that any program that runs there, I'm able to run it from there. So now how we do that is you have to use the export command. Okay, so you can say export path equal to, okay, you can say you can give this, okay, and then what you want to do, you want to basically append it either towards the end or in the beginning. That's up to you, right? In this case, I'm just appending this to the beginning, or I can also append it to the starting, okay, to the end, sorry. So now if I have to append it to the end, I'll just say, sorry, path equal to $path colon /home /EC2 user /folder 1, and then end the double quote. So now I showed you in the beginning, right? So when you use $path, what it simply does is Linux goes, it refers it from the environment variable. It simply appends that, it simply replaces this $path with the original value string that it finds. Okay. So now in this case, what it does is it simply brings the $path, the value for $path from here, and then it appends it to this, and then it sets the path along with my new path that I want to give here, right? I want to basically append folder 1 to the original path, right? Okay, so let's run this and let us see echo $path. Okay, see, your echo dollar path now contains /home /ec2 user /folder1. Okay, but this will not come into effect right now. For example, something is running in folder1, it will not come into effect because you have to reload the shell, right? So instead of reloading the shell, what you can do is you can do source tilde is your home directory, and in every home directory there will be a file called bash rc. Okay, so now tilde is your home directory, and there will be a file called bash.bash rc. So when you say source, what source does is source actually rebuilds and reapplies the settings once again to the shell. Okay, and when you do that, so it'll be available, and whatever programs that you're running in /home ec2 user /folder1, you'll be able to run it from here without without every time giving the full path to /home /ec2 user /folder1 /program1. You don't have to do that. Okay, so now that's how you basically work with the environment variables. Okay, so what I'll do is towards the end of this, I'll also give you some links, right? And you can just go through those links and practice those. And maybe around maybe in 10:45 or so, I'll just open the forum for any questions. If you're not able to do anything, you can always let me know, or contact your mentors. We'll help you. Okay. So now let's get to the shell scripting itself. Okay. So now you understand, how you have to use the environment variables. Okay. And you know how you set the environment variables and how you can refer to those environment variables in your programs, or, as part of your command execution, or as part of your um, Python programs, or whatever it is, right? It's a pretty useful um, technique to kind of deal with using reusing variables. Okay, so now let's go to the shell scripting. Okay, so now what is shell scripting? Okay, so now let me explain you what shell scripting is. Okay, so now shell, all of you understand, correct? What is a shell? A shell is basically the interface to interact with the Linux. Okay, and what the terminal that you get, that is called the shell. Okay, because that is the shell under which you are able to interact with the with the Linux operating system, and you're able to pass commands. You'll be able to run programs, and you'll be able to do whatnot. Okay, so that's basically the that's basically is the introduction to what a shell means, right? But what is shell scripting, right? So now what you can do is we looked at so many commands over the last 2 days, correct? Over the last 2-3 days, we saw a lot of commands. We saw a lot of ways in which you'll be able to combine multiple things in one single program, and you'll be able to execute it, right? So now shell scripting is nothing but it's basically a way where you can bundle all of these in one script. What is a script? A script is nothing but, we know JavaScript, we know a VB script, and we know Python scripts, and so on and so forth, right? A script is nothing but it's an execution, right? It's a sequential execution of a series of steps. Okay, like for example, right, I'll just give you a quick example of what a shell script refers to. You want to do multiple steps. First step, right? Like say for example, you want to run something every 2 hours. You have to run something every 2 hours, which goes to folder called named /home/ec2 user /folder1. Okay, and second step is searches for files with extension /.tmp, temporary files. It has to search for files with extension .tmp. Then third step is deletes the files with extension .tmp. Okay, and the above steps will need to be executed every 15 minutes. Okay, so now if the above steps will have to be executed every 15 minutes, how do you execute them? Right? I mean, how do you automate this and how do you execute it? Okay, so that is where shell scripting will come handy, right? So where you can write a small shell script that basically goes to this particular folder. Okay, and then it finds all the files with .tmp as an extension, and then it simply deletes those files, okay, using an rm command. Okay, I'll just tell you at a very high level what those steps will look like. First is you have to go to cd/home/ec2 user. Okay, and then what you will do is before deleting, you also want to search the files and put and then put the list of files in a file named deleted files.txt. Okay, so now how the shell script will look like. Before you want to delete it, you want to basically take a list of it. Okay, so that you can refer back what all files got deleted. Okay, it'll be an audit trail, kind of an audit trail. So then what you do is you do ls-l *.tmp greater than deleted files.txt. Okay, so then rm-rf *.tmp. Okay, these are the three steps that you will execute, correct? If you have to do these three steps, right? You go to the folder named /home/ec2 user, and then you search for files with extension .tmp and put the list of files in a file named deleted files.txt. That's what you're doing here. You're doing ls-l *.tmp greater than. What greater than symbol does? It basically takes the output of this and puts it in this file. So then what you're doing rm-rf *.tmp. Okay, so now these are the series of steps that you have to do every 15 minutes, right? I mean, you can't assign a user who can log in to the shell every 15 minutes and then keep repeating the steps, right? Which is waste of human potential. You don't have to do it. You can allow the system to do it by itself, but you have to basically program the system in such a way that you're able to do it. Okay, that is where shell scripting becomes very useful, right? So where using the shell script, you put these commands in a shell script. Okay, and then you name the shell script as delete temp files.sh. .sh will be the extension to the shell scripts. Okay, and then what you can do is you can simply run the shell script every 15 minutes using a scheduler. Okay, I'll tell about scheduler later on. It's called cron. In Linux it's called cron, right? And Windows you have scheduler. I'm not sure how many of you have used scheduler, Windows schedulers, but every operating system will have a scheduler, right? Because it has got a clock in it, correct? So you can put a scheduler and you can say that every 15 minutes from 9 o'clock onwards, right? 9 o'clock, 9:15, 9:30, 9:45, 10 o'clock, keep running this, right? So you can set that and then you can leave it. You can forget about it. It keeps doing it without any break. As long as the system is running, this will also run. This will keep every 15 minutes, it will execute this series of steps. Okay. So that's what a shell script is, okay, at the end of the day. And what I just told you is very rudimentary. I mean, what I just gave you is a very basic shell script, but you can write more advanced shell scripts. You can do more advanced functions in shell scripts. You can use variables within shell scripts, and you can use environment variables within shell scripts. Okay, and then you can invoke, an external APIs using shell scripts, right? All of you are aware of what API means. API is application programming interface, right? API is a way, you can integrate two applications with each other, two or more applications with each other, right? It will expose an endpoint. You can use that endpoint to invoke that, and then you can basically pass the right parameters or right arguments to that, and you'll be able to interact with it. Okay. So now let us create a simple shell script now, a hello world shell script. Okay. Let me connect back to my Linux machine. Okay. As I said, this is a Amazon Linux, right? So when you actually connect to your Linux machine, it'll actually give you something like this. Last login. When did this user last login? From which IP address? What is the flavor of Linux? Okay, and few more things such as gives you some bash warnings and so on and so forth, right? You can ignore that. Okay, so which directory I'm in? I'm in my home directory, correct? Okay, so now what you can do is you have to you have to create a new file, okay, and then you have to name that file as .sh, okay, which means that it is a shell script. Okay, so now let me just write a simple shell script. I'll just say hello world.sh, vi hello world.sh. I'm using vi editor, but you're free to use any editor that you want. Okay, the first thing that I will do is I have to put a hash. Okay, this is called just missing the name of it. It's called it's a very interesting terminology that has. Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, you have to first start with hash exclamatory /bin /sh. Okay, that is the first thing that you will put. So then what you can do is you can put a comment. For comment, what you do is you put a hash. So every shell script should actually start with this. Okay, this is called Shebang. Shebang. I'll tell you.
Sir, it's like header, sir.
It's like a header, okay, but it's called Shebang. Okay, if you go to here, it's called a Shebang line. Yeah, it's called a Shebang line. You need to start any shell script with a Shebang line. Okay, so now if you see what is Shebang, Shebang is a you see the syntax, right? Hash and exclamatory. Okay, hash and exclamatory is called the Shebang line. Okay, that is used in scripts to indicate what interpreter that it needs to use. Okay, in this case, I want my Shebang to make use of shell interpreter. Okay, what is shell interpreter, right? If you actually go to, I'll open another one, /bin/sh. I'll connect to that. I'll go to bin. I'll go to cd/bin ls-l. We will see so much. I'll say ls-l/sh. Okay, so if you see, so this is basically a link, right? The first character, what does it mean? I told you yesterday, right? What does the first character mean? It can either be a hyphen, which means it's a file. It can be D, which is a directory, or it can be a link. Link is this sh is linked to bash. Okay, now let's see what bash is. ls-l bash. Yeah, so bash is basically the interpreter. Okay, bash is nothing but it's an interpreter. You can read more about bash later on. Okay, just see what bash is. So now in this case, my shell interpreter is actually pointing to my bash because it's linked to this. Whenever you see this, right, sh with the arrow symbol and pointing to another file, which it means that it's a linked file. Okay, this is not the actual file. This is the actual file, but I'm just creating an alias of that file. It's called alias. I'm just creating an alias of that file and putting it in this place. And I'm basically referencing it from there, right? What you may ask, why do you want to do a link and why do you want to reference it? Okay, so now referencing becomes very easy because imagine I'm running multiple versions of a software. Like let's take Java itself, right? I'm running Java version 1.6, version 1.7, version 1.8, JVM version, JDK version 1.678. Okay, so now I can say Java. Okay, let me just say which Java. Okay, Java is not installed in this, but yeah, say I have JDK 1.6 installed in one directory, 1.7 installed in another directory, and 1.8 installed in a third directory. Okay, now I want my Java, right? Java is the program that I will basically make use of, right? I will refer it everywhere. I don't need to refer it with version. So in this case, I can say that point the alias Java to 1.8 instead of 1.7, right? So that way, every time I hit Java, it will always refer to 1.8 and it won't refer to 1.7. At some point in time, you want to basically refer it to 1.7. What you will do is you will go change the alias to point to 1.7. So that way, your application need not change, right? Only your reference. So this is basically a reference point. Only the reference point would need to point to a new version of the software. So that's why, you use this aliasing in Linux. Okay. So now the shebang is basically pointing to my bash out here. Okay. So now that is what it means. Okay. Shebang, the first line always means that it's a shebang, right? And similarly, you can also write Python scripts. You can write Perl scripts, right? So now when you write Python scripts, when you write Perl scripts, your shebang will basically point to the Perl directory. Okay, where the Perl is installed, where the Perl compiler is present, or Perl interpreter. It's not compiler, sorry, it's an interpreter, right? Where the Perl interpreter is present, because it's not like a C, C++, Java, right? Where you have to compile your program. After you compile the program, it will give a class file or a Java file, and then you run the Java file. So these are interpreter languages, right? So where you must be knowing the difference between what a compilers and interpreters. Interpreters is it just interprets in real time. It doesn't generate a binary file out of it. It interprets the program in real time and then it will execute the program sequentially. Okay, so now if you see, these are all the various ways in which I can use the shebang characters to say which interpreter I want to use. Okay, in this case, it is /bin/bash. Okay, or /bin/sh. Okay, sh is in turn pointing to the bash only. Okay, so that you have to be very, very clear about using which shebang variable for what. Then you also use hash to comment out something, right? Saying that this is hello world shell script. Okay, so then what you do is echo. I'm just doing a simple echo. Hello RPL chance. Okay, and I can also put a comment after that, right? Wherever I put a comment, it will not get printed or it will not get executed. This is where I write my business logic. I'm just putting something like this. Okay. Okay. So now I've written this. It's a very simple hello world script. what it does, it simply prints hello RPL champs, nothing else. It does not do anything else. Just a simple thing to check whether it's working fine or not. Let me save this file. Okay, I've saved this file. Let me clear my screen. I'll say ls-l. Okay, so you have hello world.sh available here. Okay, so now will I be able to execute this? Can I execute this hello world.sh?
No.
Let me kind of understand.
No, sir.
Okay, why can't I execute it?
Because you can't give permission.
Exactly, I didn't give permissions to this file, correct? Okay, I didn't give permissions to this file. Absolutely. So now let me give permissions. Chmod, what will be the permission? In this case, I'm executing it, right? U equal to RWX. No, 777 will give it to everybody. I don't want to give it to everybody. I'm just saying U equal to RWX hello world.sh. Yeah. So now if you see, I have read, write, and execute. Okay. So now you will also note, you would have noticed that color of this changed from white to green. Okay, and again, you can change you can play around with all these colors using your environment. You have that /etc/environment, right? Or I think the profile. So you can just go and change these colors. But the point here is the color has changed because now the file is executable. Because I gave execute permission, the file is now executable. So now how do I execute this file? I will say // dot means that particular folder. I'm in that same folder, right? / hello world.sh. Okay, so it's beautifully printing hello RPL champs. Okay, so now let me actually remove the execute permission. I'll just say only read, write. Let's try what happens. And then I'll just execute / hello world.sh. See, you get permission denied because it doesn't have the execute permissions and it's not able to execute the shell script. Okay, again changed it back. You get hello RPL champs out here. Okay, so now this is a very simple hello world shell script. Okay, so now what we learned is Shebang is very important. Okay, remember these terminologies. I keep forgetting it. That's why I'm asking you. See, right now I struggled a lot to get that term Shebang, right? It's very important to understand that. Shebang, you should understand this, and you should, whenever you are writing scripts, right? I mean, say it can be a Python script, okay? So when you write a Python script, you will actually, I'll just say hello world .python. Python will have .py as the extension, right? So now in that case, what I will do is I will write hash exclamatory. Sorry, insert mode. I'll just say hash exclamatory /bin /python. I'll put something like this. If it is a Python script, if it is a Perl script, I'll say /bin /perl. Okay, so now when we start Python from next week onwards, you will know this. How do you write Python based shell scripts, which will use Python as the library to basically interpret, not as bash. Okay. Okay. We can do a little more neat things in so let's do a few more things with shell script.
Already కొంతమంది తెలుసు.
Okay. we can also use shell script to use variables, right? Hello world.sh. Now let me. Okay, folks, please bear with me. Those who are aware of all of this, okay, this will be a good refresher for most of you. Okay, but for people who are very new to this, okay, maybe these basics will really help them, and this will at least trigger the inquisitiveness in them, and then we can actually get bootstrapped with Python and AWS from next week onwards. Okay, this 2 weeks, I mean, whoever is good at Linux, whoever is good at shell scripting, so please bear with me, right? And it'll be a good refresher for all of you. Okay, so now let's play around with some variables out here, right? Let me just add some more things to this, right? I'll just say now if I have to use a variable, right, I will say my variable, which I want to use it within the script. Okay, I'll just say equal to, this is my variable 1. Okay, and then what I can do is I can basically refer this variable anywhere, right? I'll just say echo my variable, sorry, $my variable. Okay, you have to basically prefix it with a dollar out here. Okay, and it says $my variable. This will be made available, and you'll be able to basically print this variable also. First, I'm printing just a plain text, then I'm setting a variable within my shell script. And what you can do is you can save it /hello world.sh. Yeah, see, it is actually printing. This is my variable. Hello RPL champs. This is my variable. So this is how you pass variable to your shell script. Okay. After that, you can also use expressions. Okay. You can also use some sort of mathematical expressions, and you can use you can add things to it, right? For example, right? I mean, when I want to say add 1 + 1 = 2, you can do all of those operations within shell scripts also. Okay, all of that is also going to be possible. Okay, so now let's do a little more cool things, right? Let me open the shell script, and I'll expect an output. I'll expect an input from the user. Okay, after printing all of this, I'll just say read. Okay, read is again another command which will wait for input from the end user. Okay, read my name. Okay, so then it will wait for the end user to type his name and press an enter on the shell script, and then say echo hello $my name, and that my name will go into your so what you're doing is you're reading. When you say read, it will wait for the user to enter his inputs. So then you're storing that whatever input that user enters on the screen into my name, and then you're just printing that my name. Okay, so let's see what this does. Okay, so it's now waiting for me, right? It's waiting for me to print something. I'll just say Prasanna. See, it gives me hello Prasanna. Okay, so that way, you can use read variables, and also you can you need to understand how the scope of variables would work within the context of your shell script. Okay, and what you can also do is you can basically invoke another shell script from the shell script. You can have nested shell scripts, right? You can invoke another shell script from within this, and this can be part of the execution context within this particular shell script. Okay, okay, so then you can, okay, now let's do one thing. Let's actually try implementing what I just gave some time back, right? This thing. Can we do that? Let's do that. Okay, using a shell script. Okay, so now let's do that. Okay, so now where am I currently? I'm in /home/ec2 user, right? So now, okay, let me go to, okay, I'll not go to folder one. I'll create a shell script here. Okay, I'll just say vi delete temp dot sh. That will be the shell script that I will create. Okay, so then I'll just put the shebang first. Shebang /bin /sh, which means that I'm using shell as the interpreter out here. And then I'll say hash, I'll put a comment. This is a script. Put always in programming, remember one thing, okay? You have to ensure that you make your script or piece of code, line of code, understandable by others, okay? Because it doesn't really matter. You may write great code, but at the end of the day, if you don't give enough annotations, if you don't give enough comments and enough documentation to the program, okay, you yourself, you will forget it at some point in time, right? At some point in time, you want to basically fix something with your piece of code, you will forget it. So always give a nice comment to the programs. Okay, and I'm sure all of you would have developed Java programs, C++, and all of that as part of your college. But when you step into a professional environment, it is expected that you follow some sort of coding standards, coding guidelines. Okay, and the best practices to code. So one of these best practices is to use comment as much as possible. This is a script to search temp files in the folder and delete them. Okay, that's a simple thing that I'm giving. Okay, so what is the first step that we want to do? The first step that we want to do is we want to basically navigate to this particular folder. Okay, so cd/home/ec2 user/folder1. That is a folder that I want to first navigate to. Okay, so then I want to basically list all the files with wildcards, right? So star is wildcard. So I'll just say ls-l star.tmp greater than deleted files dot txt. I want to basically first list all of that to the deleted files dot txt. Okay, and wildcards. Always remember wildcards. Most of you must be aware of it, but students who don't have the computer science background, usually you use wildcards. Like star is a wildcard. Okay, so when you use wildcard star, it means that everything that has got a extension called .tmp, or it can be any extension for that matter. Okay. Okay. And then what is the next step that we are doing? We are doing rm-rf. So again, if you have practiced rm yesterday, you know what rm is. Rm is remove or deleting files, right? And what you're doing is, what are these flags mean? Rf mean, -rf means, -r is recursive. Okay, it's recursive, where it will search for all the files with whatever criteria that you specify. F is force, you're force deleting it. It will not wait for the user to basically press enter. Yes, give a confirmation to delete the file. You're just force deleting it. You're not waiting for any confirmation. Okay, so usually in shell scripts, right, if you can try this later on, you can do rm-r without any force. It'll not continue. It'll wait for you to press enter, yes all the time. Okay, which is not possible all the time, right? Because when you automate things, the purpose of automation is to avoid human intervention, right? If you again introduce human intervention, the purpose is defeated. So you should always remember this when you write programs, when you write shell scripts, when you write Python scripts. You should always ensure that you override any manual intervention that is required. Remember that. Okay, rm-rf star.tmp. Okay, And what you can do is you can also put some nice commentary to each one of this, right? You can say echo. You can just say navigating to the folder / home / EC2 user / folder 1. It's just a command you are giving. Okay, it's just a text that it will print, nothing else. Echo is a text it will print, right? Okay. You go there, you will say echo. You know, listing all files with extension star.tmp and copy. Okay, I'm sorry, am I audible? I think I got dropped in the middle.
Sorry, your voice
Yes,
is
sir, you're audible.
Okay, I'll reshare my screen. Sorry about that. Okay, listing all files with extension star.tmp into deleted file.txt. Okay, and then put a comment, put a commentary for the last one also. Deleting all files with star.tmp extension. And last, finally, echo done with deletion. Okay, so let's see. I'm going to execute it, but before I execute, I'll ensure that I have some files present in the folder. Okay, let me go to folder 1. Okay, and I'll just create some files with star.tmp, right? Okay, let me just say vi test file 1 dot tmp. Okay, I'll just say this is a test file, something for testing my awesome shell script. Just save it. I'll create some more files of it. So you will have, you have test file.tmp is created. I'll just copy test file.tmp to test file 2.tmp. I'll just create some more of that sort. Okay. So it will just create a copy of it. I'll just create some more copies of it. Test file 3.tmp. Okay. Okay, so I have these 3 files: test file 1.tmp, test file 2.tmp, test file 3.tmp. Okay, so now let me go back one folder where my shell script is existing, and I can run the shell script. No, I can't run it because I have to change the permission of shell script to read, write, execute, delete temp.shell. Okay, so now let me just quickly verify whether am I doing the right thing. Yeah, I've set the shebang. I'm navigating to folder 1. Perfect. I'm listing all the files present there to deleted files.txt. Then I'm deleting all the files with force delete star.tmp. Perfect. Okay, so let me just execute it. / deleted files.tmsh. Okay, so it printed everything perfectly, right? It printed navigating to the folder, listing all files with extension into deleted file, deleting all files, done with deletion. Okay, so now let me go into folder 1 and see what has actually happened there. ls -l. Oh, excellent. So as you see, all the files are gone. All the test files, temp files are gone now. Okay. Now it also, as part of this listing all files with extension into deleted file.txt, right? It created this deleted files.txt. Now let's see what is present within the deleted files.txt. Okay, see what is present within deleted files.txt is it took the ls-l star.tmp and then it copied all of that. It pasted that entire output into those deleted files. Okay. Okay, I just opened that file. See, it basically all the temp files and then it redirected that entire thing to deleted file.txt. Okay, so yeah, so now it works perfectly fine, right? So now you guys understand, what how you can use shell script in the context of Linux commands, correct? And how you can basically make use of this, and how you can even construct your own shell script. See, it's a very simple mechanism, correct? I mean, you don't need to really learn any complex programming languages, data structures, nothing of that sort, right? I mean, you just need to know how do you deal with commands, Linux commands, and use that. Okay, and there's some more to the Linux, there's some more to the shell scripts. But what we can do is, for now, let's take a pause, right? And you can practice the shell script. I mean, whatever I've given. Okay, I will put this in. I'll copy these scripts. I'll give you these scripts, but don't straight away run these scripts. Keep this, but you create your own scripts by taking examples of this, right? And then you execute it in your laptops or desktops, right? And maybe you can come up with little more advanced scripts, right? You don't have to. These are just very basic things. You can come up with little more advanced scripts, and we can talk about more things tomorrow. We can talk about loops in shell scripting tomorrow, right? How do you iterate through something, right? How do you take a if you have learned C, C++ or Java, right? You must be knowing looping in programming, right? For next loop, right? We can talk about loops tomorrow, right? And how do you loop through a script, and how do you basically do a do while, right? So do while is again another loop. For loop is another way of mechanism of looping, right? We will learn those tomorrow, right? And how do you basically use undefined variables, right? And how do you what are the alternatives to looping, right? And things like that is something that we will learn tomorrow.
Sir, actually, excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
So listing all files with extension *.tmp into deleted file.txt means we are sending all the files into deleted file.txt, sir.
No, you are not sending all the files, right? You're not copying the contents of the file. You're only okay. So now this is where yesterday, when we looked at the ls-l, right? What ls-l does, it simply lists the files, right? A metadata of files. It does not list the actual contents of the file, correct? It only lists
Folder
the
names of this
metadata of
file.
the files. Just the file
Yes,
name
sir.
of the file, right?
Yes,
Now
sir. File name.
let's see ls-l, right? What is ls-l is doing is it is simply listing. There are 3 files in my folder. Okay, deleted files.txt, file1, file1, output.txt, correct? So now it is simply listing this, right? So now this text that you see here, right? This text. So now when you use greater than symbol, the text of this goes into that file. That's it, nothing else. It does not copy the actual contents of the file into that.
Text means only the file name, sir.
Only the file names, correct?
Okay, sir.
Only the file names along with this. Whatever you see here highlighted. Are you able to see my screen? I have highlighted.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
yes,
only
sir.
that highlighted portion would go into that output deleted files.txt. And if you want to strip all of this, right? See, ls-l is basically a descriptive where it gives you the details of the files, like how you do it in Windows also, no? Where in Windows, if you go to a folder, you can see the files just as the list, where it won't show anything else. Can you, do you have a Windows laptop or desktop? I think it's Z008, correct?
No, sir. I'm Z068.
68, sorry. Can you share your screen? I'll give you an example of it. You can share your screen.
Yes, sir.
Do you use Windows?
Yes, sir.
Okay, share your screen. I'll tell you.
Sir, here we are using like test file 1 and file 2 temp, right? So we don't want to give any permissions, right? It will be delete automatically, or do?
Sorry, just hang there. I'll just explain him and come back to you. Okay, just give me a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, go to Windows Explorer. Go to Windows Explorer. Okay, I can't see your screen. It went off. Z068. Please share your screen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, go to Windows Explorer.
Can see me, sir.
I can see your browser, but not your desktop. You have to share your entire screen. Don't just share only the browser. Share the full screen. Share your entire desktop. So when you click on share, select the first one, the screen one. Yeah, stop sharing and reshare. I'll explain you.
Okay, sir. Right now, sir.
Yeah. Go to Windows Explorer.
Hello, sir.
Click that folder. Yeah, I can see it. Click the Windows Explorer, the folder.
Windows
Below.
Explorer folder.
Yeah, below you have folder, no? Next to Edge, the folder, right? So click that. Yeah.
Folder, sir.
Yeah. So now go to maybe any of your folders, right? Maybe go to Documents folder on the left side.
Yes, sir.
Okay, it is still not coming up. Just click on Documents. Yeah.
I have already
Yeah.
clicked on document.
Okay. All right. So now if you see, so these are the folders and files that are there, correct? So now similarly, when you do ls-l, your Linux is also showing the same. It is showing the file name, folder name with date modified, what type of file it is, what size it is, and what permissions. Additionally, it also shows the permissions. Now click on View on the top. You have View, right? Go to View. View. On the top, you have the menu bar, right? You have the menu bar.
Yes,
click on View.
yeah.
Right?
Have clicked it.
So now just say list, only list. That list, yeah, list. Just say list.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, if you see, you're only seeing the list of files here. You're not seeing any details. So now ls is something like this. Ls will only list.
Okay.
If you want to see details, you have to pass ls-l, which will show all the details. So now, when you say ls-l greater than some output.txt, right? It is simply going to redirect all that output that the command returns to a text file. It's only the output of the command. It's not the output of the files, the actual files. It does not store the files. It only takes the output of the command and then it sends it to the text file. Okay, is that clear? Okay, all right. Okay, sure. Let's go back to the other person who had the question. Sorry, who was that? Can you please identify yourself?
Yeah, Z027. My question is, yes, my question is that we have created two files, right? Yeah, that the file one temp and the file two temp files. So we didn't give any permission, but those files, will it delete automatically, or I mean, we didn't give any permission. It's already deleted. My question is that no need to give the permission for that files.
Okay, so good question. So now, okay, let me share my screen. Okay, so I'll just go to folder 1. Okay, so now let me recreate. Those files are deleted. I'll again recreate that file. Vi temp file dot tmp. Okay, this is okay. So now the temp file dot tmp got created. So let's look at what is the permissions of it. What is the permission? Default permission?
Yeah, that read and write.
Yes. So I have read and write. The group has read and write. Others has only read.
Only read, yes.
Okay. So since I have read and write, I'll be able to delete it also.
Yes.
Okay. Let's try that. No. Let's try changing u equal to read, g equal to read, others equal to read. I've removed permission for even myself. I also have only read permission. Okay. So now let us try executing the shell script and let's see what happens. Okay. So it is just printing it, but let's see what's actually happening. CD folder 1. Okay, it has deleted it. Okay, so any guess why did it delete it?
Because we have only read permissions, right?
Yeah.
Why it was
So why did it delete?
Because I think our shell script file has execution permission, sudo permissions.
Yeah, that is only shell script which has the execute permissions, no? But the command inside that is basically it's deleting the files from that particular folder.
Actually, Linux has executed commands line by line, whether the previous command executed or not.
Yes, correct. It will anyways executed, but the file got deleted.
Yes.
I think it's open
Why
source.
did it get deleted?
Because of open source Linux.
No. How does it matter whether it is open source or not? Because it is open source, can open source delete your files?
No.
Okay,
It's
I'll tell you. Even
secure.
Android is open source, right? How many of you are using Google's version of Android, which is open source? So just because it's open source, Google can't come into your phone and delete your files, right? Your photos or videos.
Yes.
Then how will open source matter? How does it matter whether it is open source or non-open source? Okay, I'll leave it here. You guys figure out why did it delete. You can try and simulate this and then come back to me with an answer tomorrow.
Yeah, sure. And one more question, sir.
This is Z068, right?
727. Z027.
Okay, Z027. You please come back tomorrow with an answer as to you try and simulate this, okay, and exactly the same way, and then tell me, why did it delete?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah, okay. Sorry, what was your follow-up question?
Yeah, one more question is that we have created one variables, right? We have initialized that one folder, I think last hello world sh hello world.sh file. In that we have created one environment variable, my variable, right? In that for echo my variable, is that initialization of the variable, or do we need not to without initialization variable?
Okay, one second. Let me open that thing. vi. You're talking about the delete shell, right? Okay. So now which one are you talking about? Okay. So now this echo.
Not this one, sir. No,
okay.
We have already environment variables, right? Variable related.
Yes.
Hello,
correct.
hello world.sh file.
Okay. Right. Yes.
So here we have initialized the variable, my variable, right? Echo dollar my variable. Without initializing it, we can't read my name. Is that mandatory for initializing the variables?
No, not necessarily. So these are different ones. Okay. So now let me further qualify it. This is completely different.
Okay. Yeah. Got it. Now got it. Thank you, sir. Here, this variable is reading, right? You're printing that this is my variable one only printing. Yeah.
Yes, correct. This is different sections of program. Yeah.
Okay. Because I thought like we need to initialize the variable like echo my variable.
No, these are two different variables, right? My variable is different. My name is different.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So I'm not using my variable here. I'm only using my name here.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. See here, I'm hard coding that my variable within the shell script itself. Whereas here, I'm taking the value for that variable from the user, from the command prompt. That's the only difference. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. All right. Any more questions?
Excuse me, sir.
Yep.
Sir, just now one guy asked you some question. I did not follow up that question. Can you please explain the question once again?
Okay. All right. About this variables, correct? About this my variable, correct? My variable or the previous one, the
not
permission
about this one, sir. Not about this one. That file got deleted. Permissions read right.
File got deleted. Okay. Cool. Okay. I will again do it and show it to you. Okay. Maybe all of you can follow it, and whoever can find an answer for that, come back tomorrow. Okay. So now let's go to folder 1. Okay. And in folder 1, I'm just creating a new file called vi tempfile.tmp. I'll just say this is a temp file. I will exit. I'll save this file. Just save. Did it create the file? Yes, it created the file. What is the permissions of that file? Permission of that file is read write. I can read write. The group can read write. Others can only read. Okay. So now let me change the permissions to you as only read, group as only read, others as only read. Okay, so the question here is now, if you see, it is changed, right? It's only read permission, no write permission, which means no delete also, because write and delete go hand in hand, right? So don't delete also. Okay, so now, ideally speaking, I shouldn't be able to delete this file, correct? Using the shell script.
Yes, sir.
When you run the shell script, what does the shell script do? The shell script is actually listing that, and then it is deleting that files using rm-rf. Okay. So now when I run the shell script, delete temp, and I go into folder 1, so the behavior of that is whether it deletes or not. It actually deleted that file in spite of not having permission. Okay. So now figure out why did it do it.
So can you open the shell script again, in which we have written the temp file, everything?
Sure. Yeah.
Sir, I think here we have written a command where we are saying that if anything has .temp as extension, we have to delete that. Maybe that is why it is deleting. Am I right?
You're right, but why should it delete when the permission is not there?
We are using remove here.
We have using recursive force. That's why I think it got removed.
Okay.
It's from
Okay.
Z0. 27.
Okay. So why? So then, how will recursive force work in conjunction with permissions?
Okay.
I didn't give permission, correct?
Yeah, we didn't give any permission.
So
Sir,
then,
but
how will
it
recursive force work in conjunction with permissions?
had extension of .temp. We gave the
That's
file
okay.
name as temp. So that
That's
is
okay.
why.
That's fine. That's okay. That's just a filter, correct? It's only
Yes, sir.
filtering by star.tmp and then it's deleting those. But the first thing itself that, I mean, I didn't give the permissions to the file to delete.
Sir,
it, right?
header.
So why did it delete?
Forcibly we have done that, sir. Like,
So we are using RM command, right?
Sir,
Mhm.
like the
RM
permissions are
command. It
given.
removes a file, can also remove the directory tree.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, we have removed the permission on file, not a command. So command perform on task, but we have removed the permissions for execute and write, right? Then I'm not deleted the file, but command perform on work.
Okay. No, so command may have permission, may not have permission, but the file itself doesn't have permission, right?
No,
To be
but
deleted.
yeah, I'm not delete the files, right? Delete.temp file. I'm not deleted.
Okay. Let's do
But
one thing. Let's just park it here for now. Okay, you guys do some homework on it. Just read through how actually RM-RF works. Correct. I mean, how does it work in
sir,
conjunction with the
hello, sir.
permissions? Yep.
Sir, one time try to delete the deleted.temp file.
Sorry, one time.
Can I try to delete the deleted.temp file? The scripting file.
The shell script. You want me to delete the shell script? You want me to delete the
Then we
shell
have
script or?
tried. Yeah. I'm remove the permissions on the deleted.temp file, right?
No, this has permission. This has read, write, and execute.
Yeah. So I can't delete the deleted.txt file. But
No, it is deleting it. It is deleting it. No, see the actual temp file is getting deleted within the folder one is getting deleted, but that file does not have permission for write and execute. It had only read permission. Okay, let's do one thing. Let's just park it here for now. I hope you guys understood. So you can try playing around with this. I'm going to
Sir,
give you.
I just
Hello.
Just reserve it there. Just reserve it there. Don't jump into conclusion. Reserve it there. You go and find out an answer. Come back tomorrow. It's not urgent.
Sir, one answer.
no, sir. I was just trying to say that from the start, but I didn't get a chance.
Sure, please go ahead.
Sir, like we are giving the write permission, but writing is different and the delete option is different, right?
So for delete, then what is the permission that you will give?
I think like deleting option is something which we can perform like whenever we want, like something like that. It is not like writing, read, write, and execute is something which need to be given specifically. Delete option is something which is done automatically or manually in the.
Right?
Yes,
okay,
sir.
so Z034. Go back. Read more on what these permissions mean. What read, write, and execute mean. And come back tomorrow and tell me what does write mean.
Sir,
Write can also delete. If you have write permission, you can also delete that file.
Okay.
In Linux. Okay, but read through those permissions. It's a good opportunity to kind of dive deep and
Hello.
read through more on this.
Yeah, sure.
Sir, can I I have a doubt, sir.
Yeah.
Does it have anything related to login? You did login as admin so that you can delete any file.
I'm not an admin. I didn't log in as root, no.
Here
just
it is
a
a
EC2
root
user.
user, I guess. No. Okay.
No, EC2 user, not root user. I never logged in as root.
Okay, this is home user. Okay, fine.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. This
Yes,
is the
sir.
home EC2 user.
Okay.
My user.
So it is temporary file.
No, temporary is just the name.
Okay.
There's nothing called a temporary file, permanent file. In file system, any file that you create will get persisted to the disk, underlying disk, correct? Until you change it or until you copy it, move it, or delete it. So there's nothing called a temporary file. It's just from a naming convention perspective. Sometimes you create some temp files so that you don't have to fill your disk fast, right? When you write applications, you might want to store something temporarily, and once your operation is complete, you might want to delete it. So that's why you call it TMP files. But there's nothing called a TMP file. You can give any extension. I can also call it .txt. Not a big deal. So there's nothing called temporary files, just to answer your question. Okay. Every file is like persisted to the disk.
Sir, the shell we are writing, the code we are writing in the shell itself to delete any TMP files present in a folder. So that is why when you have written when you created a text file with which you have given name as temp, and after that you gave it read permissions, then you executed the shell, and the shell's main aim was to delete anything. Whenever it will find something as temp, it is going to delete that. So I think that is why it deleted that thing, like that file. And when after executing the shell, we did not find it because it was given the name as temp, and our main work of the shell was to delete something which is with the name of temp. Am I going right, sir?
Not exactly, but let's take a pause here. Let's come back tomorrow. Okay. Just take this topic. Okay. Maybe you can contemplate on it later. Just think through. Maybe if you guys want to this offline in the other room, you can just go and discuss it. But any questions on the shell itself? Let's keep this topic aside for the time being. Okay, we are sidetracking now. It could be an interesting problem to solve, but we are sidetracking a lot. But on the shell itself, on the main shell scripting itself, like the way I explained the environment variables, right? How can you persist the environment variables? How do you set path, right? How do you reuse the environment variables across various different shell sessions? And then the shebang, right? The shebang variable, right? The shebang notation of using the interpreter in the shell, and then about executing commands within the shell, about using variables in the shell. So these are the 8 to 9, 10 topics that we discussed today, correct? So now, do you guys have any questions on this core subject? Rather than, let's keep this part aside. Anything on the core? Okay, I'm going to give you this. Okay, I'm going to give you these two files. I'll create a Word document.
Sir, where you're doing this all? In Mac terminal or Linux terminal?
It's a Linux. I have a Linux box available. I have a Linux instance available. This is Mac. What you're seeing right now is my Mac laptop, MacBook. But what I did there is all Linux terminal. So this is my Linux terminal. I'm connecting to this particular EC2 instance which is a Linux.
Through SS command connected with remotely, right, sir?
Yes, correct, absolutely. I'll come to that. When I'll make all of you provision one EC2 instance by yourself using a key value pair, and then you'll be able to connect to that.
Sir, what is this IP1, 2, and this all?
I'll come to that. I'll explain that in detail in the subsequent classes.
Sir, once can you type PWD in that location once?
Yeah. /home/EC2 user. That is the current working directory that I have.
Not bin bash.
Not bin bash, no. I'm right now in my home directory, right? So which is /home/EC2 user.
Yeah.
I'm just pasting it here, but you can make use of this. I'll just give you some. I'll just give you some links as well, so you can just go through some of those links. Okay, I'll quickly. In the meantime, if you want to break out into the breakout sessions, you can do that. Or any more questions? Maybe another 5 more minutes. Quickly,
Sir,
any questions? Any last few questions? Sorry.
The dollar indicates shell scripting, no? Like.
The Shebang, right? Shebang.
Yeah, Shebang. Like.
So that indicates
normally first we will be there in the terminal, right? Like how we are going to that shell scripting, I didn't get it.
Okay, so let me show you so that when you do it, you'll understand it. Okay, right now, first you are in terminal. Okay, after you log into Linux, you are in the terminal. So that is step 1. In fact, I'll put some of these steps here. Okay. First, log into the terminal. SSH. Okay, even when you do your when you have your browser based thing, right? The free Linux server that I told you on Monday, you can also use that. Not a problem. But once you go to the terminal, once you get the terminal window, okay, change directory to sorry, it's stuck. Just give me a minute. Okay, I'm sorry, I got dropped off. I'm back. So let me just continue. Am I audible?
Yes,
Yes, sir. Audible.
Okay, all right. So then the third step is change directly to home through CD after you log in. CD tilde. Okay, I'm there in home. So then what you do is you create a new file, right? Vi hello world.sh. Okay. So then once you are in Vi, press escape. Okay, and then type I. I means it's an insert mode, small I. Okay, it's just insert mode, which is editable mode. Just follow these steps. You'll be able to navigate through. Okay, once you type in I, then it will show an insert in the bottom. Okay, so then you have to basically type all of this. Type the hello world script. Such script contains from 1 above here, right? From 1. Okay, once you complete the typing of it, then again press escape. Okay, after you press escape, then say exclamatory WQ. Okay, you have to say exclamatory WQ and press enter, hit enter. Okay, which will save the file, which will save the hello world.sh file. Okay, so once it is saved, press final. Okay, and then what you do is chmod u to read, write, execute. G equal to O equal to read on hello world dot h. Enter this command. Okay, you don't need to use this, of course. I'm just for an example. Okay, and then you will see that hello world has permissions to execute. So then execute the shell script by entering the command / hello world. I'm sorry, I again got dropped. So, so these are the steps. Okay. So I'm going to send you this document in this chat. Okay. So once you have you get the document, just go through this and perform this exercise.
Sir,
I'll also give you.
Terminal, please. Not.
Sorry. Sorry. What do you want me to open? Hello.
It might be random.
What do you want me to open? What do you want me to open? Sorry.
I mean, I think it might be a random voice and a background noise. You can ignore for now.
Okay. Okay. Sure. Sure. Okay. I'm just going to send you this in the chat. So just look out for the chat. I'm just going to send it right away. You will have it. Chat to everyone. The meeting. Attach the file from your computer. 7th October assignment. Open. Okay, just let me know once you get it. Is the assignment available now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, can
Good.
you open
So,
the terminal, please?
yeah. What do you want to check?
Sir, before we enter into the shell, shell script, we'll have that root and ash, no, like ash symbol.
Yes, this one.
And
You're
from
referring to this, correct?
dollar symbol, like what we are doing there. See, normally we are having this EC2 user and this IP, and at last we are having dollar. So this dollar indicates like we are in the shell scripting.
Right.
That's so.
You're not in the shell scripting. You're in the shell. That is called shell.
We're in the shell. So normally first we'll have that root and that all, no, and we'll have the dollar like asterisk symbol. So how we are switching from that asterisk symbol to this dollar symbol? Like before this,
No, don't worry about that. No, that is I'm using Mac. Mac works a little differently. But in your case, if you're logging into a Linux terminal from your Windows, are you using Windows?
No, Linux itself. Like I'm
You're using Linux itself,
VirtualBox,
right?
VirtualBox.
Okay, you're using VirtualBox, right? Okay, so when you log into VirtualBox, you open the terminal. You will straight away land into this prompt when you open terminal.
Like normally we'll have that asterisk symbol, no? Like you are having this dollar symbol, like that's why.
That's okay. I have just customized. No, I have just customized it. That's all.
Okay. So that's what.
Okay, you can customize that. That's okay. That's fine.
Okay.
But even if you get the hash or asterisk symbol, that's okay. That is perfectly fine.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, because in this case, I have customized it to basically show the username and the the name of the computer here, so that I can easily identify it. That's all. So don't. I'll explain this later how you can customize it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. All right. So then I believe everybody got the document, correct? So perform this assignment today. Okay, and I've also embedded some links there in the document.
Hello, sir.
So read those
I have
links.
not got the assignment, sir.
We didn't
Hello?
get assignment in the chat.
I'm not got the documents.
It should be there in the chat. I sent it to everybody.
No, we didn't get.
No, sir. Not
Please
showing it here.
resend it.
Guys, could you please check with your mentors when you join back to the mentor group?
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. So I've also pasted some links there in the assignment. Go through those links, read through. Okay, and more importantly, practice these assignments, and then let's meet tomorrow again.
Thanks, Prasanna, sir.
Okay, all right, sure. Thanks a lot. Thanks, mentors.
Students, I'm opening the rooms. Please join your respective room.